Hey, everybody. That is Gary Smith.
Hello there.
That is Kaz Kenny.
Kapow!
And I am Eddie Bramwell, and this is episode 51 of the Blackwater's Edge podcast.
Over halfway to 100, man. By one, anyway. Right?
Just barely.
I added right this week. Did you notice
That's
that?
it. Your math was on point.
Okay. Hopefully this fishing report will be on point.
Yeah, that's right. Start us off with the fish report.
All right, so for those of you that had the opportunity to get down here when we had a little bit of the warm-up, you know what
beautiful.
happened.
It was beautiful.
You know, it broke free. I mean, a lot of folks got a lot of fish. It was just amazing. I mean, live bait was definitely the number one way to go. You know what I mean? So, you know, everybody that was throwing minnows, they were pretty much the most successful, but we were able to catch fish on inlines like the Mepps and stuff like that. Some swim baits, some chatter baits. I think a little bit of everything produced, but the real thing that really produced was bait. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that's what everybody's really successful on. It was really good to see everybody coming down again and stopping in the store.
Oh, my
and,
goodness, yeah.
You know, saying hi to everybody. It's really, you know, I miss everybody.
I'll tell you what, you don't realize in the middle of winter how long winter is until it starts to warm back up and fishing starts again.
That's
boy.
right. That's right.
It turns on quick.
So as far as fishing goes, you know, where were the hot spots, the normal hot spots, the bridges, things like that. So 335 has kind of been the most consistent area, and it's probably more or less because the depth of the water. It's, you know, it's not changing as fast as those shallow areas. You know, if everybody noticed, as soon as a few white perch got in here with that warm up, the snakeheads were right behind them, running them down. You know what I'm saying? We talked to Justin. You know, he hadn't seen any snakeheads in the net, but as soon as the first opportunity came available, you know, to get the nets out and to get some water back and to fish them, I mean, here was a few white perch, and boom, there was a mass of snakeheads in there following right up the river, you know. So we know the snakeheads are coming back. There's some big fish out here. We had one the other day that was very, very large. It didn't – if it had the weight, it would have been where we wanted it to be.
Yep.
But it was a skinny fish, but it was 38 inches long. You know, that's a long fish. So you think about the guys that got these 34 inchers.
Well, how long was
cornflowers?
No. What's his name? Shoot, that was on the show.
Andrews?
Yeah, Andrews.
I can't remember what the length
30,
of his was.
39 and a half.
It was, I was going to say it's 38 or 39.
Okay, so he was up there, and that was like 19 and some change, wasn't it, or 18 and
19.9.
Yeah.
That's
okay,
the world record.
So, you know, so we're almost there. So that fish, you know, that we had, it had the right mass. It might have been close to being one of those.
So you could get a 38-inch fish that could weigh more.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Cornflower, he had what was it, 34 inches? I think his fish was 34 inches. So that fish, when we weighed that in, was 17.4, I think it was.
Right.
And that was a 34-inch fish. These fish that get the mass, that are eating good, that got, you know, they're eating healthy, I mean, they're growing so fast that they're kind of outgrowing the bone structure of their body. You know, like these big fish, these massive fish that we get, 9 out of 10 of them, I don't know how they even see because
the eyes.
The eyes are so recessed from, I guess, just growth. I don't know how to put it together. So that's something that I'm trying to figure out and learn about,
but
you know?
It's so funny to me how diverse this fish can be when I've seen a 30-inch snakehead weigh 12 pounds.
Yeah.
I've caught a 30-inch snakehead that was 5.5 pounds. I mean, it's there's
I was with you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, there's so much variation in these fish just from the same length.
You know what I noticed, depending on like the different areas that I'm fishing at, like so I kind of like been looking at some of the logs. So like some of the areas that I'm fishing, like say over in Little Blackwater, you know, those 30-inch fish are right there, you know, 8 pounds, little 7 pounds, whatever, right in there somewhere. And then you come over to Blackwater, Big Blackwater, and get into some of the other areas, and that same fish is, like you said, a couple more pounds or a couple pounds less, you know? So I figured out, like, some areas, it seems like the growth rates in those areas are kind of the average for that area, you know what I'm saying?
It definitely depends on their diet, for sure.
Yeah, and I know that, like, the biologist, Rob, and all them guys, you know, Jimmy, I mean, we're looking at some of the growth rates compared to other areas where we're sampling out to compare the growth rate, say, from point A to point B and what's going on in them places, you know? So the snakehead fishing here has just been great. You just got to put the time in, you know what I mean? Even now, we're still finding a few fish, even with this little bit of a cold snap, you know? I tell people, you don't know if you don't go, you know? So
it's supposed to warm back up, though.
Yeah, right. When you're messaging me, asking me about this and this, you know, I tell you the same thing. I don't know unless I go, you know? So I can only give you the report that I've heard from people or that I have myself, you know? I'm not trying to not give anybody a report. So all the normal places, you know, DeCourcy Bridge, Aries, Key Wallace, like I said, 335 had probably the most bigger fish, I would say. Drawbridge, Newbridge, Chickamauga, I mean, all Transquick.
Newbridge was hot.
Yeah, Newbridge was hot as hell. You get over into like the Nanacoke, they're starting to see some fish over there down Barron Creek. They're catching a few now.
Another thing too, you were talking about Blackwater being the hot spot, 335. The water's deeper there.
Yeah, well,
and the wind blew out of the north and the west, and there was no water. I mean, Maple Dam was about dried up.
Yep.
Right. And people got to understand, when that tide blows out like it does like that, it's just a matter of finding a deep area to fish. You know what I mean? The fish aren't gone. It's not that there's not fish there. It's just that that area you might have been in is blown out. It's only 4 inches of water now. Last night it was 35 degrees, so now this morning it's 39-degree water instead of 55-degree water. You know what I mean? So you got to look at all these variables with these snakeheads. I mean, they're really, really tough fish to nail down, the patterns and things like that. Just when you think you got them figured out, here comes the curveball.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
They change it up on you quick.
The Nanacoke River, they're seeing some crappies down there. Marshy Hope's got a few crappies, and then yellow perch are about done on the eastern shore as far as that goes. Still a handful around. Most of the fish we're seeing, they don't have row left in them, if you do get any females. Up the bay, I've talked to a few people up there. Bush River, it opened up for a few days and they had to warm up. I know some guys that got out there and they did very, very well. So Otter Creek produced a few fish back there in those mill ponds, places like that. Gray's Run, I hate to say it, I've talked to a lot of my friends I've grown up with up there, and everybody's been real quick to ask me, about yellow perch, and that was kind of the first thing that we kind of saw here, and so just pay attention, see what you got going on. It really blew my mind to hear that places like Gray's Run just didn't have the mass numbers of what I want to call it, entertaining fish. I like to fish places that have what I call entertaining fish, which is numbers. I'm not worried about size. I'm just worried about going and having a good day and catching a lot of fish. I don't care if they're 2 inches, 3 inches. I don't care. I just want to catch something, That's always a go-to for people up there in Hartford County. Gray's Run, Bush Creek, all them places. And all the people that I talked to up there have all said the same thing, So I don't know. I mean, you guys up there talk to me. I mean, what are you all seeing up there? I mean, if you're seeing something, say something. It's just that simple, The more we don't say something, the more of a problem that we're creating within. So Smithville, a few crappie and bass up in there, a few small yellow perch. Talked to some guys up there. The Gunpowder, I've talked to some guys over there. They're catching some snakeheads, catching some bass, and they're saying the same thing. Talking to guys down in Middle River, talking to guys, and everybody's asking me about perch. So I don't know. I'm not a biologist, but again, if you're seeing something and then something's raising your eyebrows, if you're seeing something within the last year that's changed your mind, then just say something, man. It's that simple, Middle River, Martin's Lagoon, I heard they had a pretty insane bite there for a day there once the warm-up got up there. I heard a couple guys got a few at the mouth of Darkhead. I heard there was a few at the Wilson Point. I mean, they're everywhere, I mean, a guy asked the other day, what would we do if they're all gone? They ain't going nowhere. They're never going to go anywhere. We're going to have them forever. So just do the responsible thing and try to, just watch your fish. Otter Creek, Gray's Run, we touched on that. Middle River Gunpowder, touched on that. Rumsey Island, talked to some people there in Joppatown. Some of my friends that live on the water, they're saying that, you've seen a bunch of crappie by now and other stuff like that, and they're not seeing as many fish either. So I don't know. Mariner Point Park is a great place for you to go to take your kids. If you guys want to get away for an hour and just have a little pier to sit on or something like that. Flying Point Park, which we're going to have a tournament up there on the 14th of August. You got MR Bass, kind of heading up that thing with the Maryland Waterways. We're going to help promote that thing, get that thing going. Got Roy Boyd involved up there. This is going to be a big thing. We're going to have a lot of sponsors coming to the table. I got a lot of my sponsors reaching out to me, wanting to know how they can get involved. So if you're a small company and you want to get involved with that tournament in the Upper Bay, reach out to Scott Sewell and just, maybe ask how you can help. You reach out to the Maryland Waterways, see what you can do to help. We're going to need volunteers for trash pickup. I'm sure that the Maryland Waterways may put together some kind of a cleanup, thing, which is what they do, and that's what we want to do is help them with that. Keep things clean up there too. Chop Tank River, Tuckahoe, Red Bridges. I mean, the yellow perch pretty much are done up there. Mm-hmm. I did hear that there was a hell of a white perch bite this week at Denton and last week. Greensboro, Ricky and Lee got up there this weekend. They got some perch. They didn't get a lot of white perch, so I think the white perch should be, if not busted wide open in there, it should be busting wide open with this next warm-up, Here locally, the white perch, we're catching some. It's bloodworms if you're going to catch them, you know what I mean? It's pretty simple. Or grass shrimp, they will hit the minnows, but if you want to really, really catch more than one or two, then try to go with some bloodworms or something like that. Grass shrimp, that's your second best choice right there under a bobber with a dart or something like that, or put two darts together off the bridge when the current's going out. cast, just kind of jig that thing a little bit with 2 shrimp and 2 shad darts or 2 jigs or whatever you prefer to use, and you should catch some fish. So I don't know. Hopefully that was a good fishing report and touched on a little bit of everything. So
I got to be honest with you. I've missed a good lengthy fishing report, man. It's been a long time since we had that.
yeah, let's bring it back, baby. Shit.
It's nice having warm weather again, man.
It is.
All right. So with that, this week our guest is Rob Steiner. Rob, how you doing, man?
What's up, guys?
What's going on, brother?
Good to have you on the show, man. So for those who don't know, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I've been a bass fisherman pretty much all my life. Got really addicted to the tournament scene. I've had good years, some not so good years. And also I do a lot of offshore fishing. After the Marines, I moved to Ocean City and worked on the decks of a couple boats and had some fun doing that. That's probably my second love out of, freshwater and stuff like that, growing up fishing like Liberty and Piney Run and Philadelphia and Loch Raven and, all that kind of good stuff. So I kind of dabble my fingers into a lot of different, aspects of fishing. Also big time hunter, love to bow hunt, AKA why you guys have run into me through Fryer.
Rob Fryer, good guy right there. Yeah, who's that guy?
Rob, huh?
We sell dirt.
That's right.
Rob Fryer alert. Say what, he's a good dude. We actually went to high school together. And we reconnected after years apart. And yeah, man. Anytime you can get in the woods with a good dude, it's a good time. Don't take that the wrong way.
So let's talk about, your early years as a kid. What got you fired up, man? I mean, what got you into fishing? We've all got that story of our first or how it happened, how it unfolded. So let's give it to them, man. Tell them.
Absolutely. So here's my okay, you got a problem here moment. So
That's a good way to put it.
Are you going to start talking about the disease of more?
Yeah, the tug is the drug, brother.
That's right. That's right.
So I was about, obviously back in the day, different times and circumstances. So this is why this story is really not kosher this go around and the times that we live in. But 12, 13 years old, single mom growing up, and she would drop me off at Liberty Reservoir. I would pack a couple sandwiches, couple waters, 2 rods, and throw in a handful of tackle.
Oh.
So I would religiously walk Liberty, and we would coordinate different pickup times between Liberty and Piney Run. Those were the 2 watersheds that I would hit. I specifically remember in Piney Run catching a fish almost 8 pounds, and I was like,
Now, when what were you talking about? Bass, striper? What'd you catch?
Yeah, for largemouth, yeah. And that was it, man. That was okay. We got to get to the store. I need 3 more rods, 55 more crankbaits,
cheap babysitter for your mom.
Spinnerbaits. What's that?
That's cheap babysitter for your mom.
Yeah, basically.
It was till you figured out you needed more rods.
Had Mother Nature,
right?
Babysitting.
Yeah. So then 14 came and I had to get a worker's permit and had to buy my own tackle. So, but yeah, man. I mean, I could go on for days where childhood moments growing up.
Yeah, man. Hey, go on with it. Share them. I mean, that's what the people want to hear. They love these little stories. I mean, you got a little story you remember? Tell me about the time you bungee jumped off Nicodemus Bridge or something.
Well,
no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So I'll tell you a really quick one. So I was about 19 and I was asked to join in on a bass tournament as a co-angler fishing out of the back of the boat. So this is like a real deal thing. Like we all put in $50. It's a little club deal. And this is where I got my tournament bug. The night before, I didn't eat too healthy, let's just say. And thank God it was like a late May. I mean, the water might have been 72. And had to use the facilities. Well, we're all the way down in Aquia. And there's no facilities to be found down around there. So I had to jump overboard, and my boater was crying hysterically, laughing.
I would have been too.
And I was yelling, "Get on the trolling motor! Get on the trolling motor!" So needless to say, I come back. I win the co-angler division out of the club deal, and I earned the nickname Mud Shark.
There you go.
So yeah,
So you're talking about Pretty Boy and those places like that. What were you targeting in there? Just bass, or did you go after the perch? Did you go after the rockfish, anything like that,
well,
or you
for,
just
for Loch Raven, for Loch Raven, I mean, I know a lot of people know of it, but the pike in there are phenomenal.
they are, yes.
Numbers have kind of fallen off in the last couple of years. Not sure why, but I would go in there and out of a canoe. I don't know if you've ever heard
Yep.
of that style of boat.
Yep.
So I had a canoe and a trolling motor and just zip around that whole place and obviously tear up the largemouth, the smallies, big crappie, and of course the pickerel. But I was up above the Laney Valley Bridge on that big flat one day, throwing a 9X Rapala jerkbait in the perch color. And I'm telling you what, guys, you talk about your heart coming out of your chest is when you see a 40-inch northern just tailing it. And, you start thinking back to all the shows that you watched and, oh, should I figure 8? I'm like freaking out. I'm trying not to fall out of this canoe. And sure shit, man, he just loads up on it, and I caught it. I had it on 12-pound fluorocarbon. And then the next day I go back out and catch 136. So, to target those fish is a little bit tougher than
Absolutely.
Just going out and plugging away for bass and stuff like that. So then I got the bug to want to get in the Piney Run and try for the tiger muskie. I never did get one. I did see a couple.
I hope Darwin and my cousin JR are listening to this because they've been chasing the muskies, for the last couple of weeks. I know they're really into it and trying to get that all nailed down. But I mean,
the sheerer the drop off, the better for finding those in there is all I can tell you.
So as far as like the yellow perch in Loch Raven, you had an opportunity to get on any of them at all? Have you seen any of them big yellow perch in there?
Not so much the yellow perch, but the white perch. I mean, it's like, shooting fish in a barrel. You can go down there in 50 and 60 foot of water and just slow troll the fetal spins. And sometimes I would put like a big inline weight on some rooster tails and just, you can catch 50 white perch in 2 hours, if you get on the right area.
Now, did you fish Pretty Boy a lot growing up at all too, or not too much?
Not as much. I kind of picked up the Pretty Boy gig. Good buddy of mine, Matt Elliott. Him and I used to do a couple electronic only tournaments, and that kid knows all 3 of those lakes like it's the back of his hand. And we would go up, and I'm telling you what, there are some quality fish in Pretty Boy.
Oh, I know there are. So my crab place isn't too far from there. So a lot of times I'll ride over there and just look.
Yep.
What is it? Beckleysville Bridge? Is that the name of it? Beckleysville?
Yeah, Beckleysville Bridge.
So there's a little parking lot there, and I'll park in that parking lot. And a good friend of mine, Tom, years ago, turned me onto this little spot. So it's a nice place for me to get away during the day if I need to run down and just make a couple casts. But it's real easy fishing, and I love it because like I just flip a couple rocks and get some crayfish, and I've got this one tree that's there. And literally, you can. It's good for 4 or 5 smallmouth every time you go there. And I don't even use any weight or anything. I just take the crayfish that I've got from under the rocks right there by the bridge, and just toss that thing straight back out there and let it fall. And I ain't kidding you, man. That thing, by the time it's out of sight, that's when they hit it, when you can't see it anymore. And God, man, it's just, I can zip in there, grab me 4, and go back to work, and the need for the tug is taken care of. You know what I'm saying? So,
oh yeah. And the smallies in there are no joke either, man. I thought my biggest smallie actually came from there prior to my biggest one in Ontario as a kid. But they're no joke in there.
I'll tell you what, I've caught some nice.
I'm impressed with how clean that water has been.
Yep. Now I don't know.
Over the years.
I don't know if you've heard about it, but I know there's some rumors floating around. Now, I'm not up that way, so I don't hear a lot about it. Have you heard the rumors floating about this, what do you want to call it, a poop plant or whatever, for Piney Run or whatever, what they're talking about? Have you heard anything on that? I know they're just talking about it.
I have. I was doing some reading and research. I'm kind of close to that watershed because my childhood, I spent a lot of days there.
Right. Well, that's why I wanted to bring it up. I thought maybe you might know a little more about it.
And my parents actually live behind there currently. So it's nothing for me to take my 2 boys. I have twin boys that are 10, and I'll take them down there and we'll just beat the bank up or whatever, just to kill some time instead of dropping the bass boat. But from what I'm hearing, that there's 2 possibilities. They're gonna shock it to kill all the grass in there because the milfoil is just ballooned in there. It's it's going to get bad with the grass. For fishing, it's great, but they're saying that it's a secondary water source for the county / city, all this government mumbo jumbo stuff. And then also I hear that they're totally going to drain it, and you're not going to have that watershed anymore.
Wow. Well, hopefully, if it comes to anything like that, I hope they're not just going to drain it down and let the fish die. You know what I'm saying? I hope that they're going to rehome.
Well,
I mean, there's some crazy fish in that lake. You know what I mean? There really is.
Oh, it is, and you always hear the stories, and you read the comments on fishing pages like, "Oh, Pawnee Run's so tough, it's nothing. There's nothing living in there." Bro, I've seen some hybrids in there over 40 pounds. Talking about the stripers.
That's crazy.
Wow.
I believe it. I mean, you got to think they're in Liberty that big. You know what I mean? Why wouldn't they be that big there?
Dude, bro, Liberty's got the sea monsters. Pawnee Run's just got the monsters.
So for those folks up there, a lot of people don't know. I know a lot of folks aren't familiar with freshwater striped bass fishing, especially folks down here on the Eastern Shore. We don't have those kind of opportunities. Now, me growing up there, I had the opportunity to go and do some of that fishing.
Right.
What's the biggest striper that you've personally got out of Liberty, or that you can tell us about?
Not very big. I've seen it physically. I saw a guy catch a 45-incher.
Yeah.
What's the biggest one you can't tell us about?
My biggest is right around 33. What's that?
What's the biggest one you can't tell us about?
Well, I know there's.
I can't also tell you about the live trout he used for bait.
Yeah, don't talk about that. I see these guys go trout fishing. They got little coolers, on their page with their trout in it, and I know what's going on, But
what's going on,
I've got a couple friends that I've talked to. You talking about them 45-inchers, and they get on them. Aaron Weiner, he's one that gets on them. I know he's pretty consistent with it. There as far as that goes.
Jeff Little's another big stick up
Jeff,
there
he's
that.
another one. Yep. I'm back in the day. You look at guys like Dean Barrick and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's going back a little bit. That's the old Reisterstown bait and tackle days.
Man.
So I
spent many a Sunday in that shop.
It's funny because that's kind of where I learned Nicodemus Bridge was. Going in the store.
Okay.
I would go in there and I would just buy the most expensive, biggest shiners he had, and I'd drop $100. He'd be like, "Man, what do you know these shiners from?" Like, "Man, I found this spot, man. I'm telling you, just take a piece of split shot and a hook and drop these shiners next to this bridge." He's like, "What, down Nicodemus?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, maybe you ought to walk up above the bridge and check that cove up there just to the right and see if there's any walleye up in there." They come in there about late February, March. Let me tell you what, dude. I was busting big walleye up in that spot because of that old man over there in there, man. Yep. I mean, I'm not talking about one or two. I was going in there. I was getting 4 or 5 of them, and they were all 6-7 pound fish, big walleye. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
dude.
there's quality walleye in there.
I got in trouble there.
And Randolph Jenkins is good.
Yeah, I got to tell this story.
And it beats driving the Deep Creek. Although I love going to Deep Creek and chasing those walleyes up there.
Oh my God, do you any ice fishing up there?
I have not yet.
Oh my God, we got to take you next year. We got to take you next year.
Yeah, my one boy keeps getting on me about wanting to go. So
yeah, I mean,
might have to definitely make that happen.
Man, I'm telling you, when you pull them walleye up through the ice and them pike and them, them perch.
I'm sure.
Some of them perch. We get up there. They're 2 pound fish. They're 14 inches, 14
dude.
and a quarter.
What about the bluegill?
Oh my God, the bluegill over the state park is ridiculous. You get in there on the right time.
That's your next state record.
Let's give something away.
You want to give something away, Gary?
Yeah, we'll give something away.
What do we got going on here? We got, what's this, the grab bag here?
Yeah, what do you got to say?
I don't know. You reach in here and pick something. We're going to give something away real quick, Rob. So look,
first person says thanks to Maryland Waterways.
Yeah,
there you go.
We want to just give a little shout out to the Maryland Waterways because they're going to really be helping out up there with the Upper Bay tournament and things like that. So they donated this bag. We'll give one of these bags away too today. But before we do that,
we got to give away the stuff inside it first.
Well, let's see what's inside this bag right here, Gary. Go ahead. What you got there?
There we go.
All right, what is that?
Old school tackle.
Old school tackle. So Eddie, what do we want? What do we want to put in there for somebody to win that thing?
Say I love old school tackle. Yeah, hold her up, Gary.
Yeah.
These are the swim baits from Old School Tackle, the 4.75 hammers. They're really, really nice. Go on a jig head. So the first person that comments put that. We're going to be giving away all kinds of stuff through this show. Just so you know, we got a whole bag of stuff here.
And some surprises.
Yep. So I love old school tackle.
I love Old School Tackle, and you can get that.
It's fun. Do it again.
So look,
I've got something to add. I want to do something. I know that we didn't talk about this before, but I wanted to do a little giveaway at the very end of the show.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, we do that. I'll tell you what, we'll do the Krabby jingle.
We'll do
And-
his giveaway right before the
Yeah,
jingle.
we'll do that right before I do my singing.
Let's
You
do
can even
another one.
sing
We
with
got a
me
lot
if
of
you want.
stuff.
You want to do another
Yeah,
one,
we'll
Gary?
do
We'll do another one. Let's do
What were we gonna
another
say
one.
this time?
We got. I don't know. Let's see what we get. We gotta see what's in
Say,
this.
I got it. Say, I love Maryland Waterways.
I love Maryland Waterways. That's
Yep.
what we'll say.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I love Maryland Waterways, and you get this next prize right here. What you got there,
I'm going
Gary?
deep this time.
You going deep?
Hold on, man.
Uh oh. Good Lord. That's my knee, Gary.
Oh, wait a minute. Guys can't do laundry if we get that away.
That's my raw quarters for laundry. Shit.
Hold on, man. Let's try. Let's do a little better.
What else we got in here?
He's all right. Look, Kaz has been here again.
What's that? Oh,
Empty
an empty Snickers bar. Oh, my
Oh,
Lord.
come on. We got to do better than that.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh,
There you
there we
go.
go. How about that?
Whose lure is that?
That looks like another old
It's
school
another old
tackle.
school, yes.
Another old school.
Brian
There it is.
Dolph from
That's it.
Brian
Backside.
Dolph. So, I love Maryland Waterway. Is that what we're doing? or-
Yep. So we got. Our first winner is Justin Airing. Said, I love old school tackle.
Okay, so he gets that one there.
And looks like we've got Deb Johnson. Said, I love Maryland Waterways. So they've got the other bait.
They got the so both of them get an old school tackle bait, and we'll give some
Yep.
more stuff away here in
Yeah,
a
we'll
minute.
do that in a little bit.
Let's jump back here with Rob and let's talk some more fishing. What were we talking about?
Fish.
Fish.
I'm
All
talking
right.
about I'm talking about some tournament snakehead fishing, boys.
Oh,
Yeah,
there we go.
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about you with your bass tournaments. Okay, let's talk
Go ahead,
about the different platforms that you fish. Let's talk about some of your sponsors that you have. Let's give them a little plug. I know Bass Pro
Yeah, man.
Shops is one of them. Everybody loves Bass Pro Shops.
Sounds good.
So let's talk about the tournaments. Let's talk about how your performance, why you love them. What draws you to them, the camaraderie. Let's talk about tournaments. What is your favorite river to tournament fish in Maryland?
Ooh.
It's tough, isn't it?
Put him on the spot.
I know.
Yeah. So I got to go with the flats, dude. That's by far my favorite.
Now, let me ask you a question. Now, bass fishing up there on the flats, I mean, as far as snakeheads go, because we want to talk about snakeheads, I know that you're very familiar with them up there. As far as the numbers go out there on the flats, the back channel, all them places, Swan Creek, I mean, what personally have you seen in the last couple of years? I mean, do you see these numbers coming up pretty fast? Do you
3 years
see...
ago, 3 years ago, Kaz, I would hardly ever see any on the actual flats.
Okay.
They were more in the marinas.
Okay.
It seemed like they were taking a little bit more to the hard structure per se.
Okay.
Last year, total different ball game, dude. Like, you know how clean that water gets up there on that grass flat.
I do.
And aquarium-like, some would say.
Yes.
Okay. I was seeing at least 10 a day.
Wow.
That's a big jump.
As opposed to
That's
none a
That's
day.
a huge jump. And I'm telling you right now, the quality of the fish, it wasn't your little 10 to 14 variety. I mean, you got some 7, 8, 10, 11 pounders that are, taking residence on that deal.
So that would mean that more realistically, you guys could very well see 15, 16 pound fish this year for sure. I would say.
Yes, absolutely.
God.
And if I had to guess, it's going to be caught in either Swan or up in what's the other little pocket up there that everybody crowds on in the spring, right between Carpenter and Stump Point.
Oh,
Drawing a blank for me.
Yeah,
You know which one I'm talking about, Kaz, right?
not Apartment Cove. I know where you're talking about. I can't think of the name of it either, but yes,
It's right around the corner from Perryville Point.
Yeah, I mean, I know right now that that right around the corner from Perryville Point, that cove right there, they were seeing a lot. And I'm pretty sure that's the same cove. Scott School can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's where I got a giant bass out off of a dock one day when we were in a tournament over there. If it's the same place I'm thinking of.
Is that from the story that Scott always tells about you
There you
flipping
go.
out and screaming and everything?
Yeah, my one last cast,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's a pretty cool story. So I'll go ahead and share it. We were done for the day, and I hadn't caught a fish all day, man. I'd struggled all day, and Scott looked at me, and we were in that. I'm pretty sure it's that same cove you're talking about. We were in Furnace Bay.
Furnace Bay.
So if that's what you're talking about, I mean,
Yeah, it is, man.
okay.
It is.
So and Scott must be watching because he just jumped right in there. Hey, Scott, what's going on, buddy? We're talking about you.
I can already hear Scott laughing.
I know.
Waiting for the story.
I know.
the official bass governor of Maryland.
Yeah,
That's
man.
right.
So when you fish with Scott, one of the things that he says to you before we take off is, he'll look at you and say, "You all set?" And you have to say, "You bet," and that means that you're ready to go. You know what I mean? So that was one of the best things that I always remember about Scott Sewell the rest of my life is, all set, you bet. You know what I mean? So we were done for the day. He looked at me and he said, "Hey, I'm gonna start packing up." And he had a couple in the live well he had caught. You know, I hadn't caught anything. And he said, "You have a good time today?" I said, "Scott, man, I had a great time today, and I didn't catch anything, man. I really enjoyed learning from you today, out here having a good time, and everything like that." Now, I had refused to not use the Kaz rig all day, and back in the day on Conowingo Pool, it was a very well-known rig, which is just a 2-aught Gamakatsu with a 7-inch June bug zoom U-tail worm and a piece of split shot, either that far above the head or that far above the head. You could really adjust it. I figured this rig out up in the Conowingo Lake because I hung up so much that I figured if you had a split shot instead of a needled weight or anything like that, you were less likely to pull into the hook. You could always snap that little rig out that I'm talking about. So I'd thrown it all day, and he was trying to tell me, try rattle traps, try this. And I kept saying, "Nah, man, this is my favorite lure. If this thing turns on, you watch, I'm going to sack the boat," right? And it never happened except for the end of the day. So Scott says, "Look, I'm going to start packing up. Why don't you go make a couple more casts while I'm getting everything together, and maybe you'll get a fish." I said, "All right." So I literally conceded for the day. I was done, ready to go with no fish, nothing at all. And that last cast, as I threw right next to that last pier pollen out there on that dock, and I know Scott remembers the dock, as I watched my purple worm disappear in that aquarium-colored water where you could see it dropping down, and then all I saw was like this dark shadow come out the edge of that pier pollen in that clear water and turn and go back in, and I saw my line pick up. I looked at Scott and I said, "Dude, I got one on, man. And if it's what I think, it's a big one, man." And I lit into that thing. And when I lit into that thing, I ain't kidding you, man. I mean, I was like, "Holy shit, man. I'm sorry, but that wasn't what I said, you know?" And I was Scott, "I got him, man. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God." And then when we got it to the boat, and I mean, it was 6 pounds something. I forget what it was. I ain't kidding, man. I just picked that fish up and I stood there and I just started screaming to whoever's up there in the big sky, "Never give up." I mean, you could hear me yelling that as far as you could see. I mean, everybody back in the club got back, "What the hell was you yelling about it?" "Oh, wait till you see this fish he's gotten there." You know what I mean? So, and that was probably one of the biggest bass that I caught up on the flats. I mean, I've caught some big fish up there, I've never really caught any 8-pounders up there, but I've gotten 6 and 7s, So that was just a dynamic day. We came back and, the whole lesson of the day was, you don't know when it's going to happen, and if you, this is why I like tournaments, you know what I mean? You don't know when it's going to happen. And when it happens and that adrenaline gets going, man, you know what I'm talking about. You can't breathe. You can't, you are just, the adrenaline rush is just unreal. And that day, that adrenaline rush when I left, I mean, I'll never forget that. And I think he'll never forget that. And I think the cool thing about bass fishing is the memories that we make together when we're out there. The bass fishing community is really a tight-knit community. Most anglers that I came across bass fishing were very willing to share with me, which is what attracted me to it, So, I'm like you. I like tournament fishing. I like bass fishing there, Scott. It's a great memory. Yeah, you're right, buddy. It is. I'm glad you're feeling better, too. I want to talk to you because I know that you fish the Potomac, okay?
Yep.
And I want to touch on something because, I've had the conversation with several folks and several people about numbers in the Potomac, and I have people that say, "Man, the numbers you're coming at me with are crazy." And here's the thing. I mean, you have
meaning high or low?
Meaning high numbers now, and
okay, right.
I've tried to explain to people that, the Potomac was the biomass in the beginning. The bow hunters were in there, harvesting thousands of pounds a night, right. and they were definitely holding numbers and knocking them back, but they would come back, the next time they'd survey, boom, here the numbers are again. Now they're dropping back again. So we were seeing fluctuating numbers, down, up, down, up, down, up. Now last year we were up, I think 300 and some % of our relative abundance count, you know what I'm saying, in the Potomac River. Right. So when I threw that number out last year, people were like, "Dude, you guys are crazy. That's an incorrect survey. That's not even true." You're a bass fisherman. You're there. You're seeing the tournaments. You're seeing the numbers. Talk to me about what you've seen since the bow guys have left. Are the snakeheads and bass sharing popcorn at the movie theater and hanging out, or are they, are the numbers coming back up? I mean, what are you seeing as a tournament angler over there? Because a lot of the guys I've talked to say that they see these numbers coming up fast. So let it rip. Talk to me a little bit about what you're seeing there.
Yeah, for sure. So I was down here. Here's a prime example. I was down in Potomac Creek 2 years ago.
Okay.
I was practicing for a tournament, and it was a frog deal. It was like early June. You know how the post-spawn bite is down there.
Yeah.
And I could not stop catching the snakes. I was like, man, I know there's fish in here. I've caught them before. And it was really weird because I had an outgoing tide. It was damp, darn near skinny water, end of low tide. And Potomac Creek kind of stays dirty regardless. It doesn't matter, right?
Okay.
It always has a color to it.
I'm not familiar with a lot of these creeks there. I did fish a couple tournaments with Scott and things like that down there.
No, I mean, look, you'll have your clean days down there, but for the most part, that creek does stay pretty colored. So I couldn't get away from the Snakehead. So I go up into the Quiet Creek. I was, around all those houses right there with the long docks just south of the beach. You know where the beach is, right?
Mm-hmm, yep.
Guys, I'm telling you right now, I saw the biggest snakehead in my life right in that area. It had to have been over 40.
Wow.
And I was like, I got to catch this thing. It must have been, this is no joke, it must have been 14, 16 inches around. Wow. And you know how dark they get when they get over that 10-pound range?
Yep.
It looked like something out of a freaking mythical movie or something. It was just crazy.
What's the name of that B movie?
Snakezilla.
Yeah.
Oh, it was crazy. It was crazy. So I'm trying to catch this thing. Of course, it was tight-lipped. It didn't have another parent with it or anything. It wasn't partnered up. It was just cruising down the bank.
Right.
So I go up into a fly even further around that bend right there, and I'm looking down, and I catch a 3-pound bass. I'm like, all right, well, this would be the second place to go to because I really wanted to stay down Potomac. So I was like, let the tide come up in Potomac Creek again, and I'll come back down there. It was like 3 or 4 hours I had to wait, so I wasn't really going far. I would go over to like Wade Bay or Blue Bank or whatever. I get back down to Potomac Creek, and there must have been like a big influx of clean water for that day. Dude, I saw over 100.
Wow.
Just, how that bank and shoreline are after the houses, all those pads.
Yeah, wow.
It was unbelievable. You could see them. You know how they like to just sit there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It was like it was almost like every pad stem had a fish on it. That's how bad it was.
So
and I was like, and I was just thinking to myself, like, there's no way I'm coming down here tournament day.
Right.
So yeah, and then, dude, I could go on and on with every creek up in there. I mean, case in point, I worked on the reflection pool, the DC Monument.
Yep.
The tidal basin, the big thing where the cherry trees are.
Yep.
They're actually blooming now.
Yep.
That place is loaded.
Wow.
Big time.
There's a lot of snakes in DC.
Oh yeah.
Just saying.
That is for sure. And I'm telling you right now, I mean, unless like what you guys are doing with this whole tournament scene and just getting the exposure, and it's got to happen on this side too, guys. Don't take all the fun.
Well, I mean that's what we're trying to do, So we'll have that tournament there on the 14th, with Scott, Maryland Bass Federation, and all that.
Yep.
We're gonna have 4 here, I would like to certainly see some more stuff up there. I know Roy Boyd has said he's going to work on putting some stuff together up there in the Upper Bay, for the kayak guys and things like that. I would really like to see some stuff come together up there with more than just one tournament. You know what I mean? And I'm hoping once we create this whole Snakehead Club, that we can, work with everybody and we can have more, get with CCA and Dave and get with U.S. Fish and Wildlife and get MDNR or DNR involved with this, get U.S. Fish or U.S. Geological Survey involved. Everybody wants in, so the best way to do this is to include everybody, so, I mean, that's kind of what we'd like to do. And, I think this is a great opportunity, this tournament on August 14th up there, to show the public that, hey, this is what's out here. This is what we're seeing, and we all need to come together no matter where we stand to make some kind of a difference or be that person to try to, help a little bit. That's all I'm saying.
I'm telling you this right. I'm going to tell you this right now, Kaz, and the other guys there. there's going to be a point in time where we have snakehead tournaments. I wouldn't say every weekend like we do for bass, but there should be at least 2 a month.
Yeah, I agree.
Some type of circuit, some type of organization. It's got to happen, because I'm telling you right now, I live, right on the Gunpowder, and my perch numbers were nowhere near what they were the last 2 years.
Okay.
The crappie,
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about that, because the guys up there are telling me, some guys are saying, "Hey, man, they're not doing nothing up here," and I've got more people that are saying they're seeing things that are alarming. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my point. So talk to me a little bit about what you've seen in the Upper Bay as far as changes go. I mean, what have you seen personally? I know you fish Middle River. I know you fish Joppatown. I know you fish all these places, and I don't fish up there. I know we've got some friends up there that do, Greg Hall and them other guys and things like that. But I mean, the bottom line is, let's be honest about what we're seeing. That's just.
Well, see, and that's the thing too, dude. I mean, so here's my whole hang up with this whole thing. I'm not going to sit and judge you if you want to release.
Me neither.
You want to kill.
Me neither.
To each his own, that kind of thing. Me personally, I love to eat them. So do my boys, and a lot of my friends.
Your boys are so adorable. I ain't lying. Oh.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, I mean, and they're ate up with it too, man. I mean, they love their bass fishing and their crabbing and tuna fishing and stuff like that. But I'm telling you right now, in the last 3 weeks, especially with these little warm days coming up, that we need to. Can we go get
so I noticed Roy's here in the comments, and he said he's got stuff in the works. So maybe you and Roy might talk a little bit there too. I mean, I think if everybody starts talking together, Scott, you, Roy, we all network, I think that we can make happen exactly what you're saying. Yeah. Which is get this, the tournament thing going, have another level of fun, but at the same time, we're working on sanctioning some stuff. Okay, so
and in that same breath, dude, it's got to be more of just a couple of guys, make it a club, blah, blah, blah. Because then you're going to have an influx of interest. You're going to have an influx of money coming into it. Make it an organization. I'm not saying as big as Bass or FLW or MLF or anything like that. But let's, and then try, maybe if you do something like that and that.
Eddie's sitting over here just smiling, because everything you're saying right now, we have been working on for 4 years, and we know they're going to move. So we're trying to get in that position to go nationally, hence snakeheadusa.com. You know what I mean? The guys are moving fish, so they're going to be in other places in other states. So we know it's going to take time, but it will eventually be, like you said, like a Bassmasters, maybe not on that kind of platform, but, at the same token, that's where we're trying to do with the snakeheadclub.com. Join the club, you get a discount, and we'll talk about that in a minute with Eddie. But I noticed we're getting up on time. I just want to try to get through as much as we can in this show.
Sure.
Now, so Joppatown, this place up there you're fishing. I mean, you think you're seeing some declination in numbers? Is that kind of what you're saying?
I'm seeing the decline in numbers, and I'm also seeing the decline in the big fish.
Okay.
Which is kind of an oxymoron, because when you think snakehead, like they're eating the 3 to 5 inch, 6 inch fish, I mean, and then you see a freaking video like the mud shed you guys just plucked out of one.
Right.
It makes you wonder, man. I mean, come on. I mean, if you can sit there and say, "Oh, there's no influx of the bait fish, and they're coinciding with everything else," you are mistaken.
I think the biggest thing that we overlook as a whole, and I think this is where a lot of impact has come from here in the Blackwater system, is that fish of this size, and when I'm saying 6 to 8 inch fish, they only require that much water.
That's right.
So you got to think about your ditches, your places like that got the crayfish, the tadpoles, everything that's hatching out. What happened here is these little fish got away from all the big fish that were out in the big water, came up into the shallow water, the smaller stuff, so they didn't get their ass ate. They were scared to death. That's what I think. Then they move up in these shallow areas, and the food source is not the same food source as these bigger fish are eating out in that bigger water, So now you take these thousands and thousands of 6 to 8 inch fry that have made it 4 months, 5 months. You put them in these shallow areas, and you're going to have an impact at a place that you don't see, that's going to have a domino effect coming back out to the big water, if I'm making any sense by trying to explain it like that. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean,
And
you remove that low-end stuff, the tadpoles, the frogs, the crayfish, the this, the that. You're shifting that whole ecosystem's food source, and you're making these fish adapt and find something else to predate on. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I don't know. When I have an opportunity to sit down with somebody with a chalkboard, a piece of paper, or anything like that, and I can just show them numbers, I can show them things like that, then usually a lot of times somebody will say, well, you might have a valid point, you know? And I'm not asking to be right. I'm just asking to be heard. You know, that's all that it is.
Right. And Kaz, can I just really quickly hit on the whole releasing and killing?
Yeah.
Me personally, and I have a lot of friends that release them, whatever. All I want them to think about, and when you're releasing that fish and you are worried about your bass, thriving in your waterway, just think about it. It's really not that hard of a, mathematical problem for you to figure out. You want to release this fish so you can, hopefully catch it next year and weigh 10 pounds instead of 6 pounds. I mean, come on. I mean, you got to really, even if you're not going to eat it or do anything with it, throw it in the woods. Make sure you kill it. Do something. Just, do something.
And I've said the whole, no matter what.
There's always people that want fish.
No matter what you want to do. I mean, the bottom line is this: if you think there's an issue, then you have a responsibility as an angler to your fishery. That's the bottom line.
That's the thing. And
so how much so I guess the bottom line is how can we build a more responsible angler as we go on from here? And I think that we're heading in the right direction with everything that we're doing as far as, educating the public, raising the awareness, and building a better angler. That's the whole slogan here. It's not about making enemies. It's not about making flack. It's about how can we
Roy
bring
says,
it together.
call him. He'll take all the fish you don't want.
That's right. There's always somebody out there.
But yeah, so that's the thing, I mean, even like you're saying, if you're not going to eat them, I mean, in Riverside, there's a homeless shelter there right down the road from the Bush River. If you're coming out of Aberdeen Premier and you got a cooler full of fish and you don't want them, swing in there and dump them in there. You know what I mean? Figure, I'm with you, man. I mean, do what you got to do.
Another helpful tip on that is I had made friends with the people that own the Chinese food house right there on the corner as you come out of Waldorf, as you leave Potomac. I've taken them countless of fish, and let me tell you, it's a free check on any food that I want to grab out of there.
So it's funny.
Pretty much a trade or barter thing.
It's funny that you say that because I have a place here, and Eddie and Gary can tell you. So like through the winter time, what I'll do is I'll take the Chinese place, all kinds of stuff in the spring, and I'll have me a bill for like $500-600 through the winter.
Right.
So I just go to, hey, can I get this, take it up? Yeah. So I've got a running tab. I was in there last week. I said to her, I says, am I almost done yet? She goes, no. She said, you still have $150. I said, all right, good. We're good to go. I can make it to crab season, man. I'll just eat Chinese food from here on out.
Yeah, and speaking on the crabs thing, these watermen worried about the rockfish. Let things continue the way they are. That's all I'm going to say.
That's what I'm saying. That's when you're going to get some tension.
Yep.
It's coming, bud.
One of the things that I've been thrown around in my head, and I think I might have touched on it with you before, like the flats and areas like that, that I hear people wanting to blame the commercial guy, and I hear people wanting to blame the recreational guy for this rockfish decline. And I got to be honest. I mean, you think about, I'm curious to see what happened in a year's time of not running the shad lift last year at Conowingo Dam. I'm wondering what that's going to do, I mean, there's a bunch of variables that I'm looking at, but them flats, you think about all these grass beds, the mouth of Sassafras, the mouth of Furnace Bay, the mouth of Northeast, the mouth of Susquehanna, the mouth of the Bush. I mean, you look at all these flats, Bush Flats there on 40. Look at all these places. These are the places that these rockfish go to reproduce, that migrate all the way from up the coast. They come all the way up the bay and through the C&D Canal to hit that area. You know what I'm saying? All those little baby rockfish use all those grass beds for a nursery for the first 6 months of their life until they're, that size, and they can get up the creek where they're going to stay for 2 years till they're that size, and then they're going to make their migration, So I don't know, man. Like this whole striped bass thing, like I've been really, really thinking about this, and I've talked to some other guys about it too, and I mean, if you really sat down and with a piece of paper and looked at numbers and looked at each of these areas and looked at the counts over the years, look at the declines over the year and the influx of snakehead, the amount of snakehead that's came in, you know what I'm saying? I can make an argument there between me and you with a piece of paper and some black and white. You know what I mean? And,
right.
the biologists that I've sat down with and said to them and said, hey, is anybody looking here? They said, you're absolutely right. You know what I mean?
Well, what are the biologists saying about all the menhaden and bunker boats at the mouth of the bay?
I'm with you. I know. I mean,
and what's also too with, look, I got a lot of watermen that are friends, and I'm not bashing on them, but when you let customers keep, 45, 50-pound fish that are female, full of 6, roe. I mean, come on.
I get you, man. That's what I'm saying. I mean, you got to look at all these variables. That's what I'm saying. I mean, if they're doing that and we're losing fish and stuff like that, let's pause for a minute. Gary's over here smacking me in my head, telling me we got to give something away again. I don't know what he wants to give away all the stuff for.
All right, what are we gonna say?
I don't know. What
we're gonna say, I love Nonthaburi custom baits.
And what are we giving away?
And that's how you spell it.
So you say I like Nonthaburi Chanadai baits, and we're gonna give you that.
Maybe the first person to pronounce it correct.
All right, so we'll give that away. Gary, reach in here and grab something else. Let's give something else away out of this crab bag today. What we got here?
Oh, another Kaz Destroyer.
What the hell is that?
That's from Kaz the Destroyer.
Oh my gosh.
The Kazmo eats the
What was that?
gonzo.
Smarties, two for $1.50 for Smarties.
Here we go. Oh, we got one of their baits.
Oh, look at that. We'll give away one of these baits.
There you go.
Now, if I remember correctly, he brought these baits down to us, and there's a guy that makes these. His name's Alvin, I think, or something. I can't remember. There's a story behind this, so Brady, you can help us out if I forgot. Now, I was looking at these hooks earlier, and Gary, we were talking about the hooks. I thought they were stainless, and you said
they're hot dip galvanized.
So
to me, that's what they look like.
That's what they look like to me. And I got to tell you, they're nice and strong. They're nice and heavy. And the good thing about it is, being salty water like this down here, they shouldn't rust out. So that's going to be a good selling point there on that bait.
Usually with a rubber frog, the hook rusting's not the problem.
Yeah, that's true.
If you're fishing for snake.
I'll tell you, let's go ahead and do one more, man.
Oh, look at him. He's going nuts over here.
Actually, here, we got a couple more. Let's do maybe two more things real quick. Let's see.
All right. Oh, koozie. Wolford Store koozie.
Oh, I got the one for this. I love Wolford Store cheesesteaks. Can we do that?
We can do that.
Or should we do I love Wolford Store snakehead
No,
bites?
you've already said it.
Okay.
Cheesesteaks.
I love Wolford Store cheesesteaks, and you can have that koozie, okay?
Yep.
We want to do one more here? Let's do one more.
Let's roll.
Hey, Kaz, when I come down to visit you, I got to experience this Wolford Store cheesesteak deal.
Well, I wanted you to come down today if you could, but this weather got all What the heck is that, dude?
Like you don't know.
Man, you've been in the candy today.
Candy corn.
Here we go.
What is it?
This is a Trout Scout.
Oh,
yeah.
Pioneer Premium Trout Scout. So for those of you that don't know, so that is what I have been using under the bobber, reeling really slow. I've been retrieving the bobber real slow, just enough to get that little blade to spin. So if you would like to win the Trout Scout, Eddie, what should we write?
I love Trout Scouts.
I thought that's what you were going to say too. Got two more things to give away. We'll hold that for the end of the show. We're at 55 minutes. We're going to try to stay at an hour. So
yep, we're getting close.
So let's do this. Rob, let me jump away from this for 1 minute. Let's talk about our tournament trail.
Yep.
The registration.
The registration is not quite online yet. I got some more kinks to work out, but that'll be on hopefully by this weekend. If not, it'll be the first next week.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about where we're going from here. So we've got 4 tournaments coming up. The Snakehead Club. We're going to start that.
Yep.
When are we thinking maybe getting this club going? Another maybe month or so?
As soon as possible.
Okay, so as soon as possible. Gary, you're making a trip tomorrow to go talk to somebody about the venue for our club to meet. So a little bit about the Snakehead Club that we're going to be starting, just so you know. So it's open to anybody. You can join. We're going to meet at least once a month, and we're going to have a meeting place here on the Eastern Shore. The Snakehead Club will be broadcast on Facebook Live, so members will be able to access the private Snakehead Club and view anywhere around the world they want to if you like snakehead fishing. It's that simple. Okay, each week we'll have giveaways. We'll have special guests. We'll have... it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be really a lot of interaction for that hour on Facebook between everybody. Asking questions and things like that.
Some club member only event stuff too. It's going to be a lot of fun for sure.
And just so we can kind of touch on it, I know that, Eddie, you talked about kind of a discounted way to do everything, the tournaments, the
Right.
club, and everything in one package. So pay attention to what Eddie's about to say, because this is a package that you can sign up in one shot, and you've got everything in one place.
That's right. So, and this is really one of the kinks that I'm trying to work out. This is why the online registration isn't up yet, because I'm trying to get us all worked out. But so our tournaments, as you know, we're having 4 tournaments: May 1st, June 19th, July 31st, and September 18th. That's our 4 tournament dates. Each tournament is going to be $50 to enter, and we're going to have a couple Calcuttas that are going to be $10 each.
Just like before.
Almost exactly like before. We got the heaviest of the tournament, the longest of the tournament, the most harvested in the tournament, minimum of 8 inches, and then we're going to have the free kids division. Of course, kids fish for free in the tournament, and then of course the heaviest of the year. And so each of those would be $10 except for the kids division.
Extra over the 50.
Exactly.
So the Calcuttas are $10 each outside the 50. So if you're in the tournament, you can win the tournament. But if
Right.
you're not in the Calcuttas, you're not eligible for the most in a day, the biggest of the year. You have to sign up for those Calcuttas, if you're going to win the prize. You just don't automatically get into the Calcutta from your entry fee. So
and that'll be all clear when you do the online registration. But here's the thing we're trying to do and trying to get it worked out with the registration is when you are a club member, you will get a discount. So each tournament's $50 to enter, and then being a member of the club is $50. And so we're trying to save you. If you're a member of the club, you get one tournament for free, basically.
Right, so you're paying $200 instead of $250. You're saving $50, and you get the whole entire deal: the Snakehead Club membership and the
all 4
tournament
tournaments.
entries.
Yep.
Right. So for $200, you're set for the whole year. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That gives you your one every
Not
week.
including your Calcuttas.
Yeah, not including your Calcuttas, but that'll give you your Snakehead Club membership, your access to view the program every month that we do it, the opportunity to learn and grow. And like Eddie said, we're going to offer different levels of so Mepps will probably offer some kind of a discount, as a club member.
We're still working on
We're trying to work on some of that stuff and get all those ironed out. But it's going to be really beneficial to the snakehead angler because you're going to be able to get free baits. And down the road, we'll start looking at the mystery snakehead box. So we got a lot of stuff coming together. We're talking to a lot of vendors, a lot of manufacturers. We're getting everybody that are really hot to get in on this thing. We got some really, really big names coming on the show, so stay tuned for some of that.
For sure.
You guys are going to be blown away at some of these guests we got coming. I'm having fun. I hope everybody's having fun, and we hope everybody's learning.
We've got our Mepps Angler Spotlight of the week.
Yes, let's not forget that.
Rick, I hope I don't butcher your last name. Rick Wojcik.
Wojcik.
He caught these 2 snakeheads from his brand new kayak this past week. So
Rick, I gotta tell you, we weren't sure how to pronounce the last name, so I went as far as to Google how to pronounce your last name. And that's what we came up with. So if it's wrong, I'm blaming Google, not me, man.
That's right.
That's a hell of a fish, and we're glad you got it. So
that's our Mepps Angler Spotlight of the week. Rick, come in the Woodford store, get your free Mepps lure. We'll hook you up, buddy.
Okay, now before we get out of here, let's just Snakehead 101. Let's talk about a bait this week that we got in here.
And Rob's got a giveaway he wants to do too.
Yep, we'll do that. So we just got the froglet, the topwater walking bait by Lunker Hunt. If you haven't seen this thing, it is amazing.
Oh, that froglet's nice.
It's really low profile. This thing, I got to tell you, is for those of you that know, I'm a pocket frog freak in the ditches, and I can tell you right now that I think that this is definitely going to be the new ditch lure for me for this spring. I'm not shitting you, man. I'm looking at this thing. I'm like, gosh, man, the way that this hook. So if you look at the bait here, it's pretty long, and the hook is set back here instead of closer up to the front. So I have a really good feeling that the hookup ratios on this bait is going to be really, really good. So I'm really anxious to see how this thing works out for me. They are $7.99 here at the Woolford store. It is called the Lunker Hunt Froglet.
Froglets are nice.
Froglet. So make sure you check that out. Everybody has asked me this week about the Mepps. What? I don't have the color with me. Do we have the orange one up here? Or no?
I don't think so.
Okay, so just to give you an idea, so the Mepps I was using this week, I don't have the color, but it was the orange blade with the black hair and the orange feathering. That is what I was getting them on at $3.35 over there, tipped with a minnow. I didn't get many on that bait. I might have caught maybe 3 or 4 or 5. I can't remember. It was just a handful. Everything else was on minnows. But so, here we are at number 5, single treble. The bright colors are always what I like. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. That orange is pretty hot. Another thing I want to talk about. Let me
just go through our winners real quick. Michael Goldsmith, you've got the koozie. Matt Fletcher, our rod builder, he's got the
the not the berries.
Yep, not a berry. So, all right, go ahead now.
So I do want to just mention one more thing. So I've got something new here that we're gonna try here, and I don't know if you all remember. You might remember this, Rob. Do you remember the old Porco from back in the day that Bill Dance was always promoting? Did we lose Rob?
I don't think so.
No, and I'm here.
All right, Rob, do you remember back in the day the old Porco baits that Bill Dance used to promote, the pork rind that was a long strip that you just put on your jig back in the day when the jig...
Yeah, it resembled a leech.
Yes. So this company here, it's called Otter Tails, okay? So just to give you an idea, I think the pork rind's coming back, but it's a little trailer just like back in the day, like the Porcos were, and Gary's going to get some other colors out. So this one here is just... this one is just the straight thin. They've got a couple different ones. I mean, you got the curly thin, which is like a curly tail, going behind it.
Right.
So you simply just plug that in the hole. There's a little hole in the top. Boom, just put your hook through, just like it was with the Porco back in the day. So you got that orange, and then we've got one more here, the curly long. I like this. I think this one here is going to be
That'd be pretty
cool.
slick on a drop shot setup.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. So, it's funny you said somebody's asking about drop shot rigs the other day. So this one here is a little bit longer, right? Same deal, man. I mean, it's got a little hole right there. Just put it on your jig, your swim, whatever you want to do, swim jig. And I think we're going to do something like that.
We're going to try them on Snakeheads.
Yeah, so what I want to do is I want to offer up one of these to somebody. So I love Otter Tails. Put that in there, and I will give you a can of these when you come down to the Wolford store.
Hey, Cat.
I really think these things might do something here.
Cat.
Yeah, buddy.
Keep that held up on the screen or whatever.
Oh, you said hold the one
Put
up.
that otter tail.
The Otter Tail. Hold on. The Otter Tail.
I know you're on a delay with me here, so it's kind of hard for me to see, but I just want to explain something to you on that.
Okay. So here's the curly long. I like that one. So
There's the curly
that's
short.
what I was trying to get at. Strip all your skirting off of an old buzz bait. Throw that bad boy on there.
yeah, baby.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I'll tell you what, that old Porco, I never even used it on a jig. I just used it on a weedless hook, like he would show on TV and jerk that thing across the surface. Man, I caught muskies, northerns. I caught so many
Tom,
things.
we'll give you a jar of
things.
these Otter Tails.
Yeah,
That's
we'll give you a
yours,
jar.
Tom.
Yep. You can have that.
I mean, on a naked chatterbait too, man. That thing would be.
It's funny. It's funny you say that because I've been taking naked chatterbaits and putting 3-inch twister tails on it. And
You've been saying that for 2 years.
Yeah, and I've been smoking them with that simple rig.
Shouldn't you put a skirt on her naked?
Well, no, because the problem with the snakeheads is that they always take the skirts off.
Right
of
over
them.
his head.
Well,
Right over his head.
Hold on, I brought something for you guys. It's in my pocket. No, I'm just kidding. What else do we need to touch on? Anything else you can think of,
We've got
Gary?
the new law that Scott was sharing earlier.
Yeah, Scott. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, Scott Sewell put us onto this. The new law launching goes into effect April 1st.
Thanks, Scott.
All boats less than 26 feet with over a 3 horsepower motor and no cabin is required to have a kill switch now. So make sure if your boat's under 26 feet, more than 3 horsepower, you don't have a cabin, you need a kill switch. It's good to know.
Common sense, kid.
And if anybody wants to reach out to Rob with any questions, I'm sure Rob's more than willing to help anybody too. So, feel free to reach out to Rob and,
And speaking of help, Kaz, and speaking of help, let me do this giveaway real quick.
Yep, absolutely.
Jump off here.
All right, go ahead, buddy.
So I'm going to offer up a snakehead trip for a day, a full trip, a full day,
Look at you.
to anybody who is a first responder on this side of the bridge.
Okay, so anybody on the west side that's a first responder, you're offering up a trip. How did we get the trip?
So basically, I'm going to let you guys do your pickings of the winner. Just let them contact you guys through the website here on the Facebook page.
That's it.
And
So if
you guys can do
you're
the blind draw name.
Here's what we could do. We got Roy Boyd's comment there that says Chatter Trailer. All right. Below Roy Boyd's last comment of Chatter Trailer, you want that trip and you're a first responder and you're on the west side of the bridge.
We will verify the first responder. No,
Yes.
No joking.
Yes, put your name in the comments, and then what we'll do is, what's today? Today is
Thursday.
So how about this Sunday night?
We'll double check.
We'll come back in these comments, and we'll take all the first responders' names. We'll put them on a piece of paper. We'll put them in a hat, and we'll do a drawing live here Sunday night.
There you go.
How's that sound?
Beautiful. Sounds awesome.
Okay, so Rob, look, that was just amazing
That's
to do
fantastic.
that. You know, I mean, that is a stand up. So if you want to learn snakeheads and want a free trip, and you're a first responder, and you're on the west side of the Bay Bridge, put your name in the comments from now until Sunday night. One name per comment. Okay, can somebody vote somebody, or do we just want to have the first
We'll just
responder?
do random.
Okay,
Yep.
Okay, so if you're a first responder, put your name in the comment. We'll come back Sunday night, go through all these names, put them in a hat. We'll go live on Facebook, and we'll draw us a winner. Let's say, what do you want to say, 7 o'clock Sunday night, 7, 8, somewhere between 6 and 8. Let's say that, okay? And I'll put a post up so you know that we're getting ready to do it. Let me look in here real quick, make sure. Oh, I see something else in this bag. Let's give away 2 more things, Gary.
All right, buddy.
I'll tell you, we're going to give away a lot of stuff this week.
Oh,
What's that? Another one of Brady's baits. Look at that. Another Nanthaberry Chanadai yellow bladed frog with 2 big-ass hooks to stick in a snakehead's mouth. How about that?
it's peep time.
All right, so how about this? I like yellow. That's all I got right. I like yellow, and you can have that. All right, Gary, let's see. We got one more thing left in here, and this was my favorite that went in. Actually, we got 2 more things to give away because we got to give away the bag.
There you go.
So, reach in there and pull that thing out. That's a pretty nice lure there. What, you having problems?
Oh, yeah. I got it.
I like the color.
Another
too.
old
Yeah, that's
school.
beautiful.
Another old school
There you go.
tackle,
There
some
you go.
grubs. Look at them bad boys, and that's the color too. So I'm kicking it old school. That's what you got to write in the comments. I am kicking it old school, and you can have the old school.
Jason Kwan gets the yellow.
Okay. And then, look, we want to thank the Maryland Waterways Foundation for everything they're doing up there. Gary, you want to give away a bag for the Maryland Waterways Foundation?
We're going to give away 2 bags.
And these aren't just junk bags. These are nice bags for you to put your tackle in. You know, you carry out to the river bank, whatever you do. And you can even have enough room to put your trash in and bring it with you when you leave.
That's right.
That's why we're giving you a bag.
Yep. We're gonna, orange one and the white one.
We can vote. We can vote.
First two names. First 2 people that.
All right, so we'll give away 2 of them. So we
Yep.
got,
What do they got to say
Orange.
again?
First person gets their choice, orange or white, and the second person gets what's left.
what are we writing in the
What
comments?
do they got to say again?
Maryland Waterways.
I love Maryland Waterways
I
again.
love-
We'll just
yeah,
do I
we'll
love
just say
Maryland
I
Waterways
love
again.
Maryland Waterways. That'll
So
work.
the next 2 people to put that in there, each you get one of these bags, and you can pick that up here at the Wolford store too. So here's what we'll do. Gary, give me all these prizes. Let's get them back in this bag so we can have it down there at the counter with the girls so we know what we gave away.
That's right.
And we ain't giving away stuff that we didn't. And we got plenty of prizes for next week. So that's a whole bag of stuff we gave away this week. And every week we're going to give away stuff. So look, here's the thing. Me and Eddie were talking about it. You want us to talk about your company. You know, you want us to mention something
Get in
like
touch
that.
with us.
You know, get in touch with us, and we'll give away some stuff, and we'll give you a plug, and we'll get you out there. And hey, look, if you want to sponsor the giveaway bag, you can sponsor the giveaway bag.
That's
We're going
right.
to set that up too. So we're opening the door for lots of opportunities for everybody to have a lot of fun and just get their fingers in a little bit of everything.
And I'll say this much: if you don't know anything about Maryland Waterways, check them out.
yes,
Yep.
yes.
They're a great bunch of people doing a great job.
Yes.
And a
Meister,
great,
you
do a
get-
lot
great
of work for
service.
this state.
There's
Doing a
Mr.
great
Meister.
service.
Hey, Merry Christmas. What's
Meister,
going
he
on,
gets
buddy?
his the first pick of the bag, whether he wants the orange or the yellow or
He'll go orange.
I don't know.
He's an orange guy.
I don't know. I think he wants a bigger bag because he wants to catch a lot of fish and take more trash than everybody else. All right, so I guess we had. Hey, this was a good show this week, you know. And Rob, I got to tell you, I'm so glad that you made the time to get with us this week. And you know,
Yeah, man.
if anything we can do to help you out, let me know. And like I told you, doors wide open, man. If you'd have come down here today, we'd have taken you and put you on the biggest bluegills you ever laid your eyes on. I can well, maybe not, but they've been some big son of a bitches. I can tell you that.
Yeah, the only side bet on that is I'm gonna have to catch a bigger largemouth than Fryer did on your little pond there.
Ooh, that might be a little tough. No, I'm just kidding. We had we had Wayne over there, and the little one. She got. I don't know if you saw that video. We brought our friend Wayne's granddaughter over there, and she lit in this thing, man. I'm telling you what. When I picked that thing up and showed it to her, her eyeballs were about as big as you can imagine, and she just started jumping up and down and dancing and. You know, I mean, and that's what it's about for us, man. You know, I mean, Gary's over
That's why
there.
that pond's there.
Yeah, I mean, Gary's
for
over.
kids and Kaz.
Gary's over there with the dog. You know, I mean, the dog is just like, I don't know. When we're out there and we're all just having fun, it's like we get into just a groove that's just so happy and so peaceful, yet so.
The man upstairs built us a beautiful pallet, man. Let's let's enjoy it.
I agree.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree. So folks, all you guys out there that are asking about crabs and stuff, crab season here in Maryland's going to start April 1st. You know, everybody's been asking what the forecast is, what we're seeing. Well, I mean, when it got warm, I can tell you we were catching crabs, you know, on bottom rigs perch fishing in some places. So we know there's a few crabs around. The question is, are we going to get warm fast enough to get them, you know, hanging on the line and staying on the line? Not they won't get on the line. It's you got to get them from the ground up to the top. You know what I mean? And a lot of times when it's early and that water's cold, they'll get on that line. And you'll see that line coming up, and you'll see it go slack as they're falling off because they don't want to come up. You know what I'm saying? So everybody hang in there. The crabs are coming. And, Rob, do you know the Krabby Jingle? I mean, do you know how to sing it at all?
I mean, I don't have it on my playlist, but I've heard it a time or two.
Well, if you want to hop in any time like Rob Fryer did, you go ahead, all right? But we're going to go ahead and kick this thing off. I want to say thank you so much for coming out here with us today and talking and, you know, giving us the time that you gave us. We appreciate that. And, hey, man, there's only one way to go from here, and that's up, baby, right? So,
that's it, brother. Keep casting.
That's right. Keep casting, keep catching, and keep eating. That's my – hey, that'd be a good slogan right there, man.
There you go.
Dang, dude. All right, so look, let's get out of here. Let's everybody have a good night. My crabs, they have 3 first names. It's heavy, full, and fat. My crabs, they have a 4th name. Absolutely mustard-packed. So if you ask me where they're from, no, they're not from the Wolford store like what's on my shirt, but you can get a good cheesesteak here. They're 100% guaranteed Maryland #1s. At the crab stand, here's a fact I know for sure you're coming back. Kapow! Kapow! Kapow!